The other big thing that happened is that I became a grandfather in the past 18 months. Thank you very much. I love when I get a round of applause for that. I had nothing to do with it. This was entirely Kate's doing. Here she is on the front row. I mean, I was connected, obviously. I was an early investor. That's how I think about it, really. What we discovered is when you have a grandchild, you get thrown into the company of other grandparents. And they all think that their grandchild is the most beautiful, smart, intelligent, gifted person ever to be born into the world. And I think that's lovely. And I wish them well with that belief, which I find rather poignant, because it turns out it is our grandchild who occupies this unique place in human history. But it is something that gives you pause for thought when you watch a new life, blossoming into the world. You have more time to pay attention to it when it's your grandchild. I mean, as a parent, you're far too fraught and exhausted and worn out and full of self-doubts and recriminations, and, as the long nights wear on. But with a grandchild, you get all the best of it, then give it back to Kate. And so it gives you time to observe things. And what it reminds you of is that all human beings are extraordinary creatures, that we're born with boundless possibilities. And, for a long time, there was a debate about the relationship between nature and nurture. I honestly don't know why sensible professional people bothered to talk about this. As if, some people argued that children are born as a blank slate. They come into the world and they are shaped entirely by their experiences. And of course, it's absolute arrant nonsense. Anyone who's had a baby knows they come fully loaded. Isn't that right? They come into the world fully loaded with their own personalities, their dispositions. Exactly as Toby was saying, this baby is gay, I love her. I love this baby. You can feel the energy of a child the minute that you encounter the child. That's not to say that they will become all the things they could be. They are full of boundless potential. I mean, I think language is a very good example of this. I mean, most children, by the age of 3, have got the hang of language. They've learnt to speak. I mean, they're not doing poetry slams, not hosting meetings, but they've got the hang of it. But when you think of it, that's a remarkable achievement in a very short space of time. And the interesting thing to me is that nobody teaches children how to speak. You know that. If you've got children, you didn't teach your child to speak. And the reason I know you didn't is because you couldn't. It's far too complicated, and you don't know how you do it either. You don't reach a point, do you, where you sit your child down at the age of 18 months and say, look, we need to talk. Or more particularly, you do. And this is how this is going to work. And you set out, the parts of speech and tenses and declensions, and say, you can. There are some sounds that are the names of things. We call them nouns, and some are the names of things that we do with things. We call them verbs. And if you change the tone of your voice, you can indicate whether you have done something or whether you're about to do it. And don't worry about the subjunctive. Nobody gets it. This doesn't happen. Children learn to speak because they want to, and they can. They have a capacity for it. I was talking to somebody the other day in the hairdressers. It's a long story. But honestly, by the time you get those tints in, you can be there hours. And who knew balayage was so expensive? I had no idea. But she was chatting away in Ukrainian in the next table and in the next chair. It turns out she can speak 9 languages. She's a professional interpreter. That's one of the reasons for it. But I know people in LA who speak 4 or 5 languages comfortably. There are probably people in this room who do. And if you'll forgive me saying it, it's not because you're linguistically gifted, it's because you're exposed to those languages at the right age. We could all speak several languages if we were exposed to them. The fact is we don't, because we probably weren't. So there's a difference between a capacity and an ability. So that's where the relationship of nature and nurture really starts to come in. What becomes of all these fathomless capacities has everything to do with what we're exposed to, with the experiences that we have, the opportunities we're given, the encouragement we get, or that's denied to us. And education, it's the reason I've been so long and hard on the trail of trying to improve education, is a very big part of it, up there with the culture our children are born into and the homes they occupy. But these capacities are there. And there are 2 in particular that matter enormously. One of them is we're born with a boundless sense of curiosity. There aren't many things that separate us, are there, with the rest of life on Earth. In most respects, we're like the rest of life on Earth. We're mortal, organic, We depend on the planet to be here at all and to survive for any length of time on it. But in some respects, we're different. We live in a virtual world, and we always did. We live in worlds of ideas and concepts and values and culture, to give it the shorthand term. But we're born with these enormous capacities of curiosity and of imagination. I came across this video. I want to show you this. It's very, very brief. And I want to show it because I find it very amusing. And also to underline the fact that this talk has been prepared. I've just wandered in here, vaguely from the bar thinking, now what, Kate, can I give you that, please? Just stand up a second, please. This is my daughter, Kate, everybody. I came across this on the internet. I came across so many things on the internet. And this is not my child, my grandchild. I do not know this child. But this is somebody else's child, not as bright, not as smart, not as, obviously, but serviceable still as a child. Destined for a dismal future, no doubt. But I'll tell you the setup here. It's a toddler, and his parents have given him a present. I don't know if it's Christmas, I think it might be. You don't need to know what the occasion is, or to share the surprise. He opens the box and it's a banana. That's it, it's a banana. Just check out his reaction to the banana.
Open it.
Open it.
Banana! Banana! I got banana!
Yay!
I got banana! I got banana! Yeah, I go bring that home.
You're gonna bring it
I go bring
home?
that home.
What do you say?
Thank you. I got my banana.
That's fantastic, isn't it? I think we should take another look at bananas. I think we're taking them for granted, don't you? Honestly. But isn't that fantastic? That excitement of discovering something fresh or seeing it fresh, that sense of wonder that baby eyes have before they become jaded, but about the world around them. And it's not just the bananas, it's everything. You see it as a child. They're joyously engaged in exploring everything around them. And of course, this wears off a bit as we get old. It's just as well, isn't it? You don't want this carrying on into your 30s. You'd be terrified to go to a restaurant, wouldn't you? It'd be total chaos in there, do not serve anybody an avocado. The place will fall apart. But the people who achieve a lot creatively, the artists you're going to be listening to tonight, still have that child inside them, that sense of wonder, of possibility, of seeing with the eyes of an innocent, even though they're the eyes of experience. That juxtaposition of experience and innocence is what underpins a lot of the achievements in great creative work. And it has to be cultivated. Creative work in any field requires a great deal of discipline and insight and a tutored imagination to come to fruition. But we're all born with these capacities, but very few make it through into a world where they feel their creative powers are helping to discover their own authentic self. And the reason I show you that is because all of us have those capacities. And it's one of the roles of education to give children access to their own birthright in relation to their talents.